So now we have a resource person, Ms. Smita Ahuja, who is a freelance consultant and has been working extensively on waste management at different scales. So from a household scale to a community scale, she has been working for several years. You know, how I sort of, how I got to really connect with her was because I learned about Samadhan Hub, and that's how I reached. Yeah, I reached out to IM Gurgaon, and I got connected with Smita. And when I was browsing through the net, I saw a large number of projects that she has undertaken, including the Samadhan Hub. So indeed, it's honor and pleasure, Smita, to have you with us today. And on behalf of everybody, all the participants who are from different universities and colleges across India, we would like to welcome you, and over to you for the session on waste management and composting.
Thank you so much, Ahuja. And it's indeed a pleasure to interact with this large group of college students and faculty from all over India. And I hope I'm able to inspire them and share with them some of my stories. Is the share
Absolutely.
on?
You can share your screen. So there is yeah,
Is
perfect.
it giving you the share?
Yes, I can see you. If you can just go full screen, maybe on the slideshow.
I am not able to see it. That's the...
Okay, so if you can see, I can see on your toolbar, there is a button which says slideshow, if you're able to see that. Top in the red bar.
No, I am not able to see my screen of share.
You are not able to see your screen. Would you like to stop sharing and share again?
Yeah, let me just try that, because I'm not able to see which screen I am on.
Smita, if you're facing any difficulty, you can always mail your slides to me and I can share from my end. Okay, open system preferences, what does it say? No, I think that is something that you can just leave it. Can you see your screen now?
Yeah. Can you see me?
Yes, you can close this window. This window is not required, the one which has opened.
I'm just shutting.
Yes. Yeah, we can see you. We can see you and we can see your screens. You can go on slideshow now. Yeah.
Yeah. Can you see me?
Perfect. Perfect.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to start with a simple question. What's so much about a garbage bag? Why this big deal about it? Why is it a problem? The biggest challenge is our consumption choices that are disrupting this harmony with nature. We are the only ones creating on Earth waste that nature cannot digest. Any other creature creates waste that nature digests and continues with its circularity, and the balance of nature is maintained. We are the only ones that are creating this kind of waste that nature is unable to digest. It starts with us. When one bag multiplies with all of us, our collective bags of waste every day, it adds to the air pollution, the water pollution, biodiversity loss, land and soil destruction, climate change, and ultimately impacting our health. An average person in the world is generating about 0.74 kgs of waste every day. And in India, it is 500 grams. You can imagine the kind of volume of waste that we are generating every day, and that matters. What else is happening? Whatever nature can replenish, we are consuming 1.7 times what nature can generate, replenish. It will start mattering because we are taking away the resource from our future generations. How big is this problem globally? There's a report of World Bank which is done some time back, and you all can go through the report in detail if you want to understand more about the global issues. But currently, we are generating about 2 billion metric tons of municipal solid waste yearly, and that's going to increase by 70% by 2030 to 3.4 billion. Almost 40% of this is just getting improperly managed and dumped or burned. Only 13.5% gets recycled and 5.5% gets composted. It's in plastics that are lying around. The first set of plastic, almost 80% of the plastics that were ever made are still lying in the natural environment as waste. Only 9% has got recycled and 12% got incinerated. So you can imagine the extent of pollution that we have been creating with our just one single garbage bag. The global waste that is produced in 2016 was accounting for about 5% of global emission. This number is now close to 8%. 1.6 billion metric ton of CO2 equivalent. By 2050, this is expected to become 2.6 billion metric tons. Around 47% of this emission is only on account of food waste. We are not talking about the additional emissions that are happening because of not using recycled but new products. So the excess fuel consumption, the fossil fuel consumption, transportation, that's not being accounted for in this 5 or 8% global emission. That further adds to it. Now this 47% emission, if it is harnessed, can actually become energy. In India, what's happening? These are the official figures. The unofficial figures are much higher. There is 62 million metric tons of waste that we create every year. 70% of it is getting collected. Another 30% of it doesn't get collected and gets dumped or burnt. Out of the 70% collected, only 20% is informally processed. So your waste pickers or your garbage, your rag pickers or your kabadiwalas are probably processing this 20%, and balance 50% is all reaching the landfill. By 2030, the amount of landfill waste, if we don't do anything about it, would be equivalent to a landfill of the size of Bangalore city. That's the amount of waste we would be generating. Gurgaon, the numbers are, I'm talking about Gurgaon, but this is the case in almost most cities. We are generating 1400 metric tons of waste, 1100 is reaching the landfill, another 300 metric ton is getting burnt or dumped. 450 trucks every day carry this waste to the landfill site, which is bursting at its seam. It's carrying 35 lakh metric ton of waste, 40 feet high, 250 feet deep, 30 acres of place, almost the height of Qutub Minar. That's the size of our landfill, which is very close to your water bodies where the leachate seeps in into the groundwater, and it's constantly having fires, which is adding to the air pollution. This is a common sight in most cities in India. Clogged drains, garbage on the curbside, burning garbage, mountains of garbage in the city. This is a common sight which most cities are unable to cope with. India collectively, because of its vast size of population, generates the largest amount of waste in the world today. The 20% that's getting treated, this is the way in which it gets treated through rag pickers working or kabadiwalas working in an extremely unhygienic and unscientific way of recovering the waste, and most of the waste still continues to get resource still continues to get lost. This was a report done by TERI long time back, and I've just extrapolated from that one, where at the landfill site, 40% of what is lying on in the landfill is resource that landed up going there, and 60%, which is soil, is because it was mixed soil, is because of mixed waste, it became toxic soil. And this could probably have been your organic waste, which could have got converted into manure. So most of the landfill items that are there, that garbage mountain, is actually resource that has been there. I think a lot of you would constantly be seeing this in the paper, that there's trouble in the air. You can see mercury, arsenic being found above limits that are allowed. The water is unfit for drinking. You have 5 grams of a study was done which said that a credit card size of plastic is what we are all eating every week. Our water is contaminated with plastic, microplastics. Even the placenta of an unborn child had microplastics in it. The lungs of a young child today, because of the pollution levels, have turned black. The study was being done by Lung Care Foundation, which is being headed by a very senior lung surgeon. And he said that in one of the talks that he was doing recently, he said that today when he does a surgery, he never sees a pink lung. Almost everybody's lung is black with the pollution that the person is inhaling. So we've really created a toxic chamber for ourselves. Now imagine if we didn't do this, we didn't junk this bag onto earth. This picture could change. We could stop polluting, we could conserve resources, and we could give better livelihood to people by just a simple action of recycling. Why does this not happen? Why do you think we don't do it? I don't know whether anyone can answer in the chat box or would like to unmute and answer. When is the last time anybody has seen their own garbage bag or their trash bin? Has anybody seen it?
You may please unmute or you can even think of typing in the chat box.
When is the last time any one of you looked at your trash bin?
Yes, please.
So over the last year, I became a lot more aware of my waste and how much we generated at our home, and we tried composting. And honestly, like now, our bin is barely 10% of what it used to be, because everything from a safety bin to a lace wrapper can be recycled, which I've learned in the recent year. And it's honestly difficult to understand why, this basic effort is not there in just about everybody. Because it's not even nice to think that the garbage man collecting your waste is like picking out your dry and wet. Like, that's the least we could do for ourselves and the planet.
I'm so glad to hear this. I'm so glad
you
to
identify yourself, and maybe you can tell where do you stay? Like,
my name is Dia and I stay in Ahmedabad.
Nice to hear this, Dia. And so that's really so you became charged and decided to look at it about a year back, right?
Yes.
So it's actually a question of looking into your garbage bag. Would you agree with me?
True, yeah, definitely.
So it first starts by looking into your garbage bag and trying to fix it in your heart that, yes, I have to do this.
True.
Once you fix it in your heart and you address it in your home or your school or your college, nothing can stop it from making the change. And just as you said that how quickly your bag became almost 10% of what you were throwing, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's exactly what will happen. So where does the solution lie? The solution actually lies in your first behavioral change. You're becoming aware. You're becoming aware that there is a problem. You need to know more about it and you need to feel the problem. Once you start feeling the problem and you start knowing that the waste can be segregated into the categories of e-waste, dry, wet, and only just about 10 to 15 is your percent is your waste that needs to go into the landfill, you will start segregating. So becoming aware becomes your first step. The next step is, after becoming aware, making it a priority. People have 500 things to do in their to-do list. Have you moved it to the first, second, or third category of problem to look into? If you don't, then you'll never solve it. So making it a priority and feeling responsible for it becomes the next stage of solution finding, which is your awakening, which we call. And then the third is taking action. Now, how to take action? To take action, it should be convenient, easily doable, not take too much time, and be cost effective. If it's that, then a person is able to take action. Otherwise, there are very few people who can actually make additional effort to do this. We are the problem and we are the solution. So what you really need to become is not waste management people or waste managers. You need to just become responsible resource managers. Do you ever throw a 10 rupee note into the dustbin? Have you ever thrown even a 1 rupee coin into the dustbin? Has anybody ever done it? But every single day, we are sending out resource again and again into the dustbin to become a pollutant instead of a resource. Samadhan Hub is nothing but a collective journey of a city to take action. It's a collective effort of the ULB, the citizens, the civil society, the corporates, the recyclers, to work towards building a zero waste city. I'm sharing the case study here. It started with the phase 1, where we said you should look at feeling the problem. To feel the problem, an art project, Where Does It Go, was started. 13 artists led by Arun Kumar Edji, a very leading artist, built installations out of waste. 11 installations out of waste were made. The waste collected from different communities, schools, colleges, informal workers over a period of 1 month were used to build 11 installations. Out of this installation, the largest one was the toxic chamber, which was created by Arun Kumar. People looked at these different installations. When they sat inside the toxic chamber, they could actually smell the plastic, and all this made them actually start feeling the problem. And it moved them enough introspect and think for change. But once you started feeling the problem, then what? You needed tools for change. So the second phase essentially started as providing these tools for change. Samadhan Hub has been divided into 4 sections. The first section talks about, has information walls that give you facts and figures. The second wall talks about the steps, gives you a guide, a step-by-step guide on the actions you can take, how you can segregate your waste, what do you do with your segregated waste, how can you compost it, how do you recycle it, what are the steps involved. It gives you a full guide to that. Then comes the actual action area where we have a recycle corner where different categories of waste can be segregated and dropped from where they go to different recyclers. Plastics have been divided based on their end use, have been divided into 4 categories. So you not only just drop plastics, you drop PET bottles in a separate bin, you drop hard plastics in a separate bin, you drop soft plastics in a separate bin, and the second category of MLP. So all these different categories are dropped by the residents. The next section of action area is your area where you can donate for reuse. So you can give clothes, shoes, utensils, non-expired medicines, stationery, all kind of stuff can be given here so that all the stuff that you're not using gets a second life. We have a Goonj dropping center. So a large amount of items can be given there. Even specific solutions for categories, like even a small item like your Mata ki chunni can be given to Goonj and they convert it into bridal wear for women. So every little category of waste, we are trying to find solutions at that center. Other than donating for reuse, you also have a section which talks about how you can dispose certain categories responsibly, especially expired medicines, which are majorly responsible for superbug creation in landfills and in your water. So they are dropped off here, and from here they go as biomedical waste. Community collections are also done, and communities collect and come and drop it at the center. It's a very popular destination. Large group of people come here every day to drop their own waste. It's like they carry suitcases of stuff. They drop their recyclables. They'll drop item for donation, for reuse. So they'll come in school as school groups. They'll come as community groups, and it really has become for many a regular halt once a month to responsibly give off their waste, certain categories of waste. It still has not become a one-stop solution, but the aim of the place is to become a one-stop point where you can give off literally everything extra that you have and everything that you consider waste that could become resource. Based on, it has collection drives that are held there. We have workshops to help you manage different categories of waste, how you manage your horticulture waste, segregation, how to recycle. Regular workshops are held. People just come and have fun. They'll engage there. There'll be artists who'll be sitting there. Even there are these swings made of tire where kids can swing on, and they're very close to the information action walls. So while they're swinging, they can learn a little bit about waste. Moms come and teach their children, give them ideas about waste management. So it's a great interactive place for people. There are also in the past pre-COVID where markets were held there, and the market was basically to promote buying of recyclable products and easy alternatives to your products, plastic and other products, biodegradable products could be easily available. And it was, the main aim was to promote circularity and to also make people look at an eco-conscious lifestyle as a natural choice rather than a forced choice. So it really encouraged many people to walk in, have fun, and look at choosing, rethinking their choices. Based on the success of the first Samadhan Hub, which was started in 2019, and then the second phase that was added in 2020, this year, we've added 2 more recycling stations have been added here, one in Sikandarpur and another one in Badshapur. Currently, they are only recycling stations, but they also have, these 2 centers also have regular collection drives for woolens, clothes, etc. So they're trying to look at expanding this further too. It gives the opportunity for the entire city to get involved and build a zero waste city together. That is the whole idea behind Samadhan Hub, to make everybody look at it as a place for collective action. The city comes together to act, to solve its problem. And the material that is given out from there, the material for which there is informal chains, it is encouraged that it's given to the kabadiwalas so that they don't lose their livelihoods. The materials that need to be given to recyclers, where the informal chain are not well developed, are given to recyclers. So it's a very inclusive place. It doesn't remove the informal chain at all. It's inclusive of them. That's how Samadhan Hub has been built. And based on this, other than this, there are even recycling programs that I'm running, where I'm just going to quickly share with you a study of how community mobilization and collective action is done on ground level. So this was at city level, how people have come together. There is a program that I'm running with about 30 communities, where there are waste champions in these 30 communities that are leading these programs, and they collect e-waste from their communities on a monthly basis. And about, in the last 3 years, about 25,000 kgs of e-waste has got collected from all these communities. About 1,000 kgs of e-waste is collected every month from here, from these places. And all these programs are led by waste champions. Some of them are older residents, but a lot of them are young students who are leading these programs within their communities. Second program I'm doing is on soft plastic recycling. Soft plastics are the largest amount of litter or burning of plastics happens of this category of plastic, because it's low value and it's of little interest. If you just walk around your neighborhood, everywhere you will find plastic bags and panni packets and chips packets lying thrown all over. So they're the maximum that clog drains and get burnt or get littered around. And this program has been started in large communities, where again, many children are involved in collecting these on a monthly basis, and they go to an NGO which makes fabrics out of this, upcycles it and makes fabrics out of it. In another case, working on a program with another NGO, which is started this campaign, Be a Green Heart. So they have a mascot bin that they have placed in different places. One of them is in Amity University in Gurgaon, and it's in various communities, where again the communities are mobilized and the universities students are mobilizing their student groups to drop the soft plastics into this bin, which is the heart shape is to encourage behavioral change. And this is again really a helping in this waste getting recycled and not thrown here. And there's also a village program that we are running on the same lines, where again soft plastics are being collected and sent for getting recycled into board, which is similar to your MDF board. Now, what can you do? I've shared stories of what others are doing. What do you think that you can do to bring this change? To implement some of these things, just as Disha has done it in Ahmedabad? Can you do something to not be a polluter but a solution in the society? We need to rethink our choices. Somewhere our choices is determining what is landing up as garbage in your garbage bag. What do you need to do first? Become waste wise. You know, you've heard this dialogue, maybe kifayati ban. Hindustanis are always kifayati. We know how to optimize resources. So actually, we need to start doing that. We need to relook at what we are throwing, maybe look at repair, maybe look at repurposing, refusing some items, and reducing the quantity of waste we are generating. Once we've done that at base level, we then look at what can be recycled. Almost 50% of what we throw is wet waste or organic that can convert to compost. Another 20 to 30% can be recycled and made into new products. E-waste, again, has a lot of rare metals which can be recovered and recycled and reused again. So almost 85% of what we are throwing doesn't need to get thrown and becomes a resource. And only 10 to 15% is what reaches the landfill. And when we start saying no one by one to this 10 to 15%, you can actually become zero waste. How do you start with? What do you do first? You need to first and foremost important step for this is to start segregating. Once you segregate it into the different categories is when you can actually find ways of responsibly managing it. The law also says that. The law actually tells us that it is mandatory to segregate and to compost or biomethanate within your community level if you are a large bulk waste generator. And the third most important thing is that everyone needs to pay a user fee. When you have a mobile and you use the mobile, you pay for its services. When you use electricity, you pay for its services. But when we are disposing our garbage, this is a question for each one of you. If you don't know it, go and check it out. Are you paying for the garbage that you dispose? If you're not, you're probably giving your waste to a rag picker who will take out, or a waste picker who will take out all the resource that he can from the waste and dump the balance in the environment, never making it reach the landfill. So you are, if you're not paying the user fee, you're most likely responsible for the dumped garbage that you see in your neighborhood. What are the 3 steps that you can take? Any one of you, starting today, maybe end of the session, from tomorrow, if it's touched you even slightly, can take any of these steps. The first step, refuse or reduce any of these 5 items. Your plastic bags, your disposables, your straws, your water bottles, and your packaging. You really don't need a banana wrap in a cling film wrap. The second is recycle. A lot many of your items you don't even need any formal place to recycle. It can very easily be sent to a kabadi wala and he will recycle. Your pet bottle, no matter to which kabadi wala you give, it will reach the right destination. Your metal, your glass, you can easily give your paper. A lot of us have been always giving our newspaper to the kabadiwala. You can check with him, a lot of it he can take. You could start a community recycling program. The e-waste, of course, needs to be given responsibly. So do not give it to a kabadiwala. Look for somebody where you can responsibly give it only to an authorized person. And if none of that, and if you're in Gurgaon or there is another recycle station somewhere, drop it off in a place like Samadhan Hub in your city. The third, once recycling anybody can do, even in a hostel you can do this. You just need to keep it, store it separately. The third is look at doing home composting. There are different models of home composting that are available in the market. You can make makeshift ones. You can even start off in a little gamla. In terms of recycling, I had shared, talked to you. Paper, glass, metal, and your pet bottles could be given to any kabadi. It'll most likely 90%, 99%, it'll reach the right recycler through its aggregation process. Some categories like your soft plastics are not easily recyclable. They don't have any value, and therefore finding a right source for giving them becomes important. So do look for your right recycler and then send it. How do you go about creating a green campus? So first and foremost, it's most important that you start doing some of it yourself. When you do it yourself, you will understand the challenges associated with it. You will understand uh, how you can make it convenient for people, what is the kind of awareness people need, and therefore you'll be able to implement it. Form a group of people. You'll be having eco clubs in your colleges. If you don't start one, and start off small, start off with just a few activities and then build on. You can simplest could be say no to single use, ban the plastic bag within your place, stop using disposable or water bottles, build a recycle station and donations. You can have donation drives. Look at horticulture waste, look at wet waste, and look at responsible disposal of rejects and hazardous waste. Simple things for saying no to plastics. Have a water dispenser. A lot of your staff in your college could be just given a reusable cup. If you're not able to remove disposables, look at just getting biodegradable stuff instead of plastic disposal. You can have a delivery basket in your shop. You could have, a drop box where every time you use a bag, it can be dropped back into that box, and people can continue to reuse the bag instead of just a single use. Small steps. Start a recycling setup. You can build a samadhan zone, brilliant. If you can't build a samadhan zone in totality, look at just starting with soft plastic recycling and e-waste recycling, which requires regular proper recycling chain logistical connect, and having it done responsibly. Look at doing that. Look at creating a little zone in your college campus, in your college canteen. Start recycling. Look at horticulture waste management. This is a big thing in all college campuses. A lot of horticulture waste gets generated, and a lot of your malis don't even know about it and end up burning away the leaves. Leaves which would become natural nutrients to the soil end up becoming a pollutant. So very easily doable. Just you need to train your malis a little bit, and it can be easily done within the campus. Wet waste. Now, the first big part in the wet waste is your food waste. I don't know if a lot of you would be having canteens. A lot of food gets wasted in canteens. Just cutting the food waste. Could be a huge big step. You know, there could be messaging in your canteen. You could have a drop area for the extras, that people, if they don't want the chapatis and they want to keep them as fresh chapatis in one corner, they could be kept in one drop area. You could create a community fridge. You could look at tying up with people like Robin Hood Army who collect the extra food and take it. Almost 30 to 50% of the food that is globally produced gets wasted in the chain, not at the end alone, but in the complete chain, right from producing to the end. Almost 33 to 50% is getting wasted. So you can imagine the amount of wastage, greenhouse emissions that happens because of it, and the amount of water and energy that gets wasted. Then, of course, the balance organic waste, which is getting created, can be looked at. Either you look at composting or you can look at biomethanation. Composting can replace your fertilizers, and biomethanation would give you energy. Any of the two processes could be looked at depending on the kind of waste that you're generating. If you're generating only kitchen waste, then maybe biomethanation is a good option. If you're generating both leaves and kitchen waste, then maybe composting could be looked at. Depending on the kind of waste you're generating, an option could be looked at. You have two types of wet waste management systems. They are aerobic and anaerobic. Some of them work, the aerobic ones work in the presence of oxygen, and they are low oxygen systems. So again, based on the kind of waste you're generating and the facility available in terms of space, etc., a system can be chosen. You have very, very simple models that can be made yourself, makeshift, do it yourself kits that can be put in your campus. You can have elaborate systems that are there, that are available in the market. Any one of them could be bought. There are some natural systems which don't need any electricity or water. And then there are some semi-mechanized systems. Any of them could be chosen. And lastly, the most important for behavioral change. All those were action points that are doable, but they are doable only when people want to do them. So sensitizing them, opening their mind, activities and events, environment days, eco days, repair cafes, all those plugging activities, all these are a big way of encouraging people to look at waste in a different way, look at different options for sending off their waste or for what they can buy, so that there can be more circularity in terms of the products that you're using. Events can be planned by you all, different NGOs can be invited, different bodies that are making these kind of, different stakeholders that are making these kind of items can be got. So it can be a big tool for bringing behavior change. Most importantly, small acts. It doesn't have to be huge changes that you have to make. From tomorrow, if you take just those first one or two steps, that become a starting point. Small acts, when multiplied by millions of people, can transform the world. That one garbage bag, when multiplied by all of us, if it is replaced, can reduce the size of the garbage significantly, and not only reduce the garbage size, but also conserve so much of the resource that is getting wasted and becoming a pollutant. Together we can make this difference. We can all take that step. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Smita. I think I'm sure your presentation must have struck a chord with everyone, because each one of us who are present here, are struggling with some or the other kind of waste around. Very few of us, I would say, probably right now have recycling, or even for that matter, waste segregation at source. All the little tips that you provided probably I think these are little baby steps that each one of us can take at our end. So for me, this has been probably one of the best presentations and probably a very informative session. In fact, recently, as I told you, I had taken my students for a field trip to Gurgaon, but I missed taking them to Samadhan Hub. So it's already in my bucket list to really, for the next trip, to take my students there and let them have a first-hand experience. But I think the entire picture, I would say you brought it alive in front of us through your presentation. So phenomenal. Thank you very much. In fact, we have with us, Smita, our UNEP partner representative, Ms. Gayatri Raghav. So I will request Ms. Gayatri Raghav to share her thoughts about this presentation and see how we could really collaborate with Earth Tree and the Samadhan Hub and other partners, because you are also running a campaign, Tide Turners, which is around plastic and recycling. So over to you, Gayatri.
Thank you, Fauzia. First, Smita, so beautiful. You've covered all aspects and really, really wonderful presentation and really inspiring. And I'm sure all the youth there today will be definitely inspired. I am inspired, despite the fact that I've heard all these things. We keep hearing in the UNEP all these things again and again, but you presented it so beautifully. You presented it so well that it came on very strong, and thank you very much for that. And before I say anything about the waste, I would also love to thank Aviruch if I can. He too sort of really beautifully spoke on energy. And in fact, at that point in time, since Fauzia, you know that I have recently moved to my village in Himachal, and I'm now settling there. So I was noting down all points, Aviruch, to actually make it even more. I am thinking of a PV, the photovoltaics. I am thinking of quite a lot of stuff there. So thank you very much. Personally, it was extremely beautiful, and I'm sure all campuses can really, really do a lot of stuff in there. So yeah, coming back to the waste thing, at UNEP we run several initiatives, of course. Which are, some of them are research based, which work with TERI or TERI or different organizations and are conducting research, or some of them look into policy. So we have various initiatives that are running on waste. But one thing that I am particularly working with is the Tide Turner Plastic Challenge. This is what we started in 2019. This was an initiative that reached out to all schools and colleges and even eco clubs. Now we have a separate, a section for eco clubs, and we've now reached over 330,000 youth who have participated with us. Now, in this initiative, it's like a gaming thing. You know that all youth love games. So, you go through different levels. You have a level 1, you have a level 2, and you have a level 3. Level 1 is when you are given a challenge and you're set a task wherein you need to learn and you need to change yourself. And Smita, I love the way that you said behavior, because it's all about behavior change. So the first level is about one's own self change. And in the second level, they are expected to reach out to the community and make a difference there. So whatever that you did, try and do it out to the community, raise their awareness, knowledge, and do something with them to try and change their behavior. The last level, which is a championship level. The second level is leadership level. The last level is a championship level. In the championship level, they had to actually do things on ground and show what change they constituted. Now, those changes could be, in terms of policy, pushing the government or pushing the people. I can give an example of Bihar here. One of the most difficult state to work with, but one of the states that I'm so proud of, the kind of work that they've done, especially the scouts in there. So what they have got done is that they have reached out to every village, every school. They've got all schools engaged, and then they go through this and they're really, really raising the whole. While India is banning single-use plastic in July 2022, Bihar has already done that. And these youth have been really petitioning the government to do that as well. So it could be a policy thing. It could be an innovation. So come up with something. You can take a product out of waste. You can collect plastic and maybe you do something out of plastic, maybe make bricks or something like that. So that could be an innovation. It could be recycling. It could be promoting use of alternatives. It could be anything. But then you've got to show some ground level change that has actually happened. We've got about, I think, 6,000 to 7,000 youth who now have qualified as champions. So now for all the champions, we've got a hero level. We've now tried to even raise their stakes up, which means that we don't want them to get the certificate, the badges, and then say, hey, we got lovely certificates from in there, and then move away. We want to engage with them because they are our youth leaders of tomorrow. So what we do is we, through advocacy, workshops, and many things, we try and build their capacity even up and then push them into hero level that they can do even something bigger. So this is what we are doing. We love all the youth who are participating here, and also Smita yourself, if you want to join with us, please do join, because we have a lot of supporting organizations who support us as well. So thank you very much. And I'm going to direct a lot of our Gurgaon students to you. And that's why, that's one thing that I've done. So be prepared. Yeah, be prepared for that push that's going to come to you now.
Absolutely. I would love it. I love the challenge.
Yeah, I too. I love the challenge, and I love the students. I mean, whether we Bihar, where I said that Rituraj, the scout leader who made such a big difference that he's got a plastic warrior team set up in every government school, or Mansi Thakkar, who's from Gujarat, a college student, maybe second year or third year college student, who actually went to the Mahua beach in Gujarat coast and actually cleaned up the whole coast because it was so full of plastic and waste. The turtles have started coming back and laying their eggs there.
Wonderful.
So they had stopped it there. So we've got some wonderful, inspiring. You just have to give the platform to youth, and I think youth can do wonders. And all the youth are here today, are wonderful youth, and I think you guys can do it. We can just talk about it. We've messed up your environment, at least my age group.
We need to help you correct
your environment. Yeah. So, and you guys are wonderful. You all of you can do so much. So thank you very much. You're all welcome to join, and thank you for attending this workshop, all the youth and Smita and Fauzia. Wonderful, wonderful workshop covering all aspects: waste, energy, water. I mean, and food. Please, I mean, this is so beautiful, and I'm sure that all the students here today, and we're going to have many more presentations coming up through LBGN as well. So all the best and congratulations to all of you. You've done a wonderful job, commendable job, really. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Gayatri ma'am. That